I hate snow. I hate it so much. Not because of it being really cold, but because it left a forever memory stuck in my head. I think it was winter break. I was in 7th grade and I was really excited that Christmas was approaching and that it was snowing. Everything was great until 9 p.m. when my brother Ben started having a seizure at the dinner table. This was the first time this happened to him. I was really scared. My parents quickly took him to the emergency room, which was 20 minutes away from our village. I just felt bad, so I went upstairs where my room was at the end of the hall and tried to sleep in my bed to end this bad day. I went to bed under the warm blanket. That is until I saw a snowman in my front yard. The snowman was wearing a long black coat with a hat on its head and sticks for arms, and it was smiling, but I didn't care at all because I just really tired. I woke up the next morning and the snowman was still there. So I put on my coat and got my boots on and went outside. When I got closer to the snowman, I looked around but saw nobody, so I decided to destroy the snowman and go back inside. After that night, I was in the living room and watching a Christmas horror movie when all of a sudden I heard something hit the window like a sound of a snowball hitting the window. And when I checked, it was the exact same snowman, but when I opened the door, it started to move on its own, and I asked, "What do you want?" And it said something I will never forget. It said, "We are one." I shut the door immediately and ran to my room. The next few hours I lay there wondering what it meant. "We are one," repeated in my head. I struggle to sleep. It's dark and windy outside, and the tree branches keep hitting the window. I get out from under my cover, go up to window and look out. The snowman was gone. Sighing with relief, I go back towards my bed when suddenly I notice a puddle of icy water. I freeze.
For the past 30 days, at exactly 2:34, I've been awoken by a child screaming. Every single night, for 30 nights, I would say the child is around 5 or 6 years old, and a female, living in a small neighborhood. I know everyone who lives here. I could list all of them right now without having to think about it. And I know for a fact that all the children that have ever lived here are well over 25 now and have left the neighborhood to live somewhere with better job opportunities. No one has moved here in the past 12 years. At least that's what I thought until last night when I looked out the window after being awoken again. Being a widow, since last year I live by myself, except for my cat who slept through it all. I wiped the steamed up window and peered out into the half-lit street. In the middle of the road was a small, rather slim child. Everything about them seemed normal, except the fact that they were standing on the road at 2:34 at night, and their eyes, even squinting out in the dimly lit lane, I could easily make out those eyes, so wide they were almost glowing. There was no visible pupil, and not once did I see them blink. They were just staring straight forward. Suddenly, they fell to the floor, and another scream pierced my ears. There wasn't anyone nearby that could have knocked them over or a car inside. It seemed like a huge gust of wind had blown them over. It would make sense, but the weather had been early, calm all night. I debated whether I should go outside to make sure they were okay, but a part of my brain told me something wasn't right. I stayed put, kept my eyes on the small child lying on the hard, cold floor. There was no sign of breathing, and I realized they could really be in danger. I reached for my phone, turned it on. No signal. I looked back out onto the street, and they were gone, like they had vanished into thin air. I managed to convince myself that it had all been my imagination and slowly got back into the bed. Just as I pulled the covers over myself, I heard the door banging 2 times. I sat up straight. Someone knocked again, 3 times this time. I reached under my bed for the gun I kept there. 4 knocks, sharp and clear, interrupted me. In my head, I tried to piece everything together. Suddenly I realized, every night at 2:34, I heard the scream. 2 knocks, then 3, then 4. I started to panic. Fear spread through my body. The door crashed open, and that was when I blacked out. Next thing I know, I was in hospital. 3 cops were sitting beside my bed. I closed my eyes again, then heard them speak. They said someone had called them after hearing a scream. They said it sounded like a woman, probably in her 50s. I realized then what that meant. I'm a 56-year-old woman. Every night I heard someone scream until it reached the end of the month, and it was my turn. I sat up, asked the police officer if they had caught anyone. They said no. I asked them who had called. They said it was anonymous. The only clue they had was a ring they found in the middle of the street with the letters RW engraved on it. RW, RW, RW. I scanned my head for people I know with those initials. Only one person. My dead husband, Robert White. They asked me if I would like to see the ring in case I could identify it. They brought it to me and I took it into my hand. I knew this ring. I had the same one on my finger with my initials on it. This was the ring I had given my husband for our 30th anniversary. He had never taken it off. He was buried with it.